If you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast black void so deep, so endless, that staring into it feels like falling. You sense something staring back, not with eyes, but with an unbearable presence. It whispers the questions you've spent your life avoiding. Who are you, really, when no one is watching? What if everything you believe about yourself is a lie? Most people flinch. They turn away. They drown themselves in distractions, anything to avoid the silence, the truth waiting in the abyss. But what if the very thing you fear holds the key to your freedom? What if embracing the darkness could unlock a hidden power within you? Carl Jung once warned, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." But how many dare to look? How many can face what lurks beneath the surface of their own mind? The abyss is not just out there. It is inside you, and it is calling. Most people spend their lives avoiding the abyss, not because they don't know it's there, but because they do. It lingers at the edges of awareness, a silent force that shapes thoughts, desires, and fears. The abyss is not just a metaphor. It is the unfiltered reality of the self, stripped of illusions. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the repressed, hidden aspects of the psyche that we refuse to acknowledge. Nietzsche spoke of it as the terrifying confrontation with meaninglessness, where one must either create their own values or be consumed by nihilism. Sartre described it as the unbearable weight of absolute freedom, the realization that no higher force is coming to define you. You must define yourself. But society, culture, and even your own mind conspire to keep you from looking too closely. Distractions are endless. Comfort is abundant. Every flashing screen, every shallow conversation, every numbing pleasure, these are the barriers between you and the abyss. And yet, the more you avoid it, the stronger it becomes. You feel its presence in moments of silence, in the creeping sense that something is missing. In the late-night thoughts you drown in noise. What if the greatest danger is not the abyss itself, but your refusal to face it? And if you did, if you truly confronted it, what would you see? The abyss does not disappear just because you refuse to look at it. In fact, the more you suppress it, the more it seeps into your life in ways you don't even recognize. It lingers in your anxieties, your compulsions, your unexplained fears. It manifests in the self-destructive patterns you repeat without understanding why. Carl Jung warned that, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. The abyss does not remain idle, it takes control from the shadows. Repressed emotions become bitterness. Unanswered questions turn into existential dread. The fear of confronting reality leads to escapism, addiction, endless distractions. You drown in entertainment, social media, work, substances, anything to avoid the silence where the abyss waits. But this avoidance has a cost. When you refuse to confront the abyss, you become a fragmented version of yourself. You live a life dictated by external forces, by what society tells you to want, by what others expect you to be. You feel the weight of an undefined emptiness, a gnawing void that no amount of pleasure or success seems to fill. What if your greatest suffering does not come from the abyss itself, but from your resistance to it? And if you finally turn to face it, what would happen then? What if everything you feared about the abyss was wrong? What if, instead of a void that consumes, it was a gateway to something greater? For years you've avoided it. You've built your life on distractions, carefully arranging your identity to keep the abyss out of sight. But now, you stand at the edge, realizing that the very thing you feared most, the chaos, the darkness, the unknown, is not your enemy. It is your unclaimed power. Carl Jung spoke of shadow integration, the process of confronting and accepting the suppressed parts of yourself. Nietzsche warned that those who fear the abyss remain slaves to comfort, never becoming who they truly are. To break free, you must do what terrifies you most. Turn toward the abyss. This is the great rebellion against fear, against conditioning, against the lie that you are meant to stay small. You do not conquer the abyss by running from it. You conquer it by stepping forward, eyes open, ready to claim the parts of yourself you've long abandoned. At first, it feels like falling. But then, something unexpected happens. The abyss does not destroy you, it transforms you. And on the other side of fear, you find something you never expected: freedom. But what is the ultimate truth waiting beyond the abyss? And why does it change everything? You were never meant to escape the abyss. All this time, you thought it was something to conquer, something to overcome. But the abyss was never your enemy, it was a mirror. The darkness you feared was only the parts of yourself you refused to see. The suffering you ran from was only the cost of transformation. You weren't looking into the abyss. The abyss was looking into you. Carl Jung understood this deeply. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. To become whole, you must accept the entire spectrum of your being, the light and the dark, the wisdom and the wounds, the love and the rage. You are not just the mask you wear. You are the fire beneath it. Most people live their lives in fear of this realization. They cling to distractions, identities, and illusions, because to face the abyss is to shatter everything they thought they were. But those who dare to embrace it, who walk into the darkness willingly, emerge as something new, something powerful. You are not here to be safe. You are here to be real, to wake up, to see the abyss for what it truly is, not the end of the self, but the beginning.